welcome back to Anno 1800. I am Verso, and let's go ahead and get started. So, even though I take video games somewhat seriously, I still consider myself a pretty casual player, as you may know. And one of the reasons for that is that I don't often see things through to the end game, and partially that's because I have a penchant for agonizing over small decisions, trivial game mechanics, tiny profits, that sort of thing in games like Anno 1800, whereas I really should be worrying about the bigger picture. And I know this, but I get a sort of tunnel vision about things that really aren't of tremendous importance. And maybe you're the same way, and maybe that's why you're watching this video. In fact, if you're watching this, you definitely are like this. Hate to break it to you. But with that said, let's talk a little bit about ship production, because in the beginning of this game, and maybe even into the mid-game, it's a little bit difficult to make a profit, and it seems like every little bit that you can eke out counts. So, meanwhile, more hardcore players are probably just plowing through this part of the game and utterly dominating, but, you know, well, good for them, I guess. Okay, so to the point, let me go ahead and try to answer the question that you probably came here to have answered. That is, can I make a profit selling ships? And the short answer, I'm happy to report, is yes. Yes, you can. But how much, you're asking me? Well, I knew you'd ask that, so I spreadsheeted it, and what I got was as follows. So, Schooners, they're extremely cheap to produce, but they only net you around 3,175 profit. You can pretty much start making those right away. You don't even need weapons for them. Gunboats are around 8,505. Frigates come in at about 16,075. Clippers are 6,875, which is terrible, and you should probably never produce those for sale. Ships of the line, 39,725. Sounds amazing, right? So now you're saying, whoa, those are some specific numbers. I hope you like my imitation of you. Hopefully you don't actually sound like that. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, obviously your mileage may vary. A quick note on my methodology. I assumed perfect efficiency, right, for production of components, so all ships use planks and sails, and some ships use weapons in addition. The cost of planks and sails is pretty simple to calculate because it's a one-to-one relationship with those. So, you know, one in, one out. The cost of planks is 5 coins each, and each sail comes in at around 47.5 coins. Weapons, well, for those, I had to make some assumptions, and I assumed that you had something sort of like what I've set up over here on this island. Here we go. Okay, so what you see here are 3 weapons factories. 1, 2, 3. And we know the weapons factories output at 2/3 ton per minute, so 3 of them, in other words, is 6/3 per minute, or if you remember your elementary school math, that's 2 tons per minute, which is the exact output of a single furnace, right? So taking into account the entire chain, including the iron mine and the charcoal kiln, the cost per ton of weapon came to 285 coins. Feel free to correct me on that. I think it's correct, but you never know. So anyway, you've got that, but these ships require different amounts of time to construct, right? So your next question might be, okay, so what is the profit per minute? And that's a really good question. So real quick, what you discover is that on a per minute basis, ships of the line are still the most profitable at around 3,300 per minute. But interestingly, gunboats are actually slightly more profitable than frigates at 2,835. It's arguable, you know, on a resource basis whether those are more efficient to produce or not, but there you go. I'll put these numbers in the description, by the way. So obviously this doesn't take into account things like production bonuses from trade unions, or even the cost of maintaining the ships while sailing it to a friendly port for sale. But and it certainly doesn't take into account the opportunity costs of using steel resources for something else entirely, but, you know, you get the point. As usual, we're keeping things a little simple while also keeping them very complex, probably too complex. Okay, questions, comments, blah, 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 you know about that. Now go forth, conquer, stay casual, but play smarter.